Camille, Renekton, Gnar through 3 games here as Camille has popped her head back into the meta, but we know that these players also have the Ornn, the Mundo, the Jax, things like that in their arsenals. So again, jungle and the solo laners, they leave a lot to... what's a good way to say a lot to be desired? I said, I desire to see more craziness. I don't leave a lot to be desired. It's quite the opposite here. We see 2 very specific bans that Galaxy Racer are starting out with. The Vel'Koz being taken away from Super LG, and the Nocturne not going to be able to be piloted by Super Sana Solari.
Well, they know some things, okay? They have also taken out their shells and done some research, apparently, because those are very specific picks. This one is a little bit less specific. That is something you would expect LG to be playing herself, but this J4 is going to be banned out by Galaxy Racer regardless. The bans from NNOwO are going to be the Tristana, the Syndra, and the Zero Threat. Is an interesting one. He has just been nerfed recently, but still, if you want to make sure that the mid lane doesn't have any explosive long-range stuff, let's put it this way, definitely those 3 bans make total sense from the side of NNOwO. I was hoping there would be enough fury, but no, nobody's letting the dogs out today.
Unfortunately, no. It looks like we will get the Lilia. Again, that is a little bit of a flex, but might go into the hands of Telchi. In fact, I would like to see it in the hands of Telchi. A very high power, high octane jungler on the other side. And a little safer Super LG. Not going to get their hands on the Vel'Koz, but instead the Orianna. Yes, we got 20 seconds left, but it's about as safe a blind as League of Legends history will tell us, J-Real.
Yeah, I have a personal vendetta against people that R5 Orianna. You know, I feel like if you're going to pick Orianna, you can pick it really early on, right? It's good into pretty much every matchup. There aren't really too many counters. It can build well with most teams. I think it's a really safe lock here. I like the pickup. I think that Super LG is going to get targeted in a lot of these games, right? We've already seen it. One pick straight away, the Vel'Koz. They also banned out the Xerath themselves, which is another one they do play. So giving them some sort of comfort, I do really like indeed. And now picking up the Rakan, this is something that we have seen Sari play. It is something that they are available to kind of pivot on, and today we've seen a couple of Rakans too, but the Nautilus being slammed in, I'm a big fan of the engaged support.
Yeah, on both sides, right? We've got that that same thing here. We're not going to see any sort of these Braum or Alistar bans or picks. Locking these in early, we'll probably get the AD carries matching up to boot. Wouldn't imagine those go to the ban phases. Maddie on the Kai'Sa in game 1, or in game 2 rather, excuse me, and on the Jhin in game 1, so certainly loves to partner with Danley. Now here, okay, the Sivir. We have to put an asterisk on this one. You would think this is going in the bottom lane, but Solari, that might not be the case.
I would not be surprised if it is not the case, because yes, Sivir is a great bot laner, she's scaling very well, she works very well with Nautilus. There is already Lilia, who is, I'm pretty sure, going into the jungle. If you have a strong AP jungler, because Lilia has a very big AP damage output, you're very safe to put a very good, reliable AD carry on your mid lane. Tristana is banned out, which is usually the first thing that comes to your mind. Sivir is the answer here, especially because if you look back at the history of this very specific mid lane player of Galaxy Racer, there is a Sivir there, and we have already discussed it in the pre-show today. Surprising, but yes, it is.
So we do have high damage, like you said. If you got a big AP jungler, not Maokai AP jungler, I mean a Lilia AP jungler, right? You've got the potential with the safety of the Sivir, with the spell shield that she provides, to be able to lock that in. Meanwhile, on the other side, Super Sana going to be on the Viego. Renekton banned away immediately for Zenith J-Ro.
Yeah, Viego very much on their shortlist. Early game AD, potential to get ganks off, very much Sana's kind of comfort zone. Renekton going to be banned away. It's been a pick that, to be honest, in Pathfinder's history has caused major issues. Pathfinders 2, Renekton was everywhere, and it wasn't a small crocodile that you see on Lacoste t-shirts or just in a small swamp. It wasn't a little baby boy. It was a full-on Godzilla rampaging through a lot of these games, so I like the ban away. I think it's a very strong top lane pick that can kind of be utilized to just scathe off a lot of damage, right, when you're trying to get a counter pick in. So I'm a big fan of that one. The Vayne also being banned away. Obviously, we have seen a Vayne today, not coming out from either of these two teams, but it's definitely a menace that can be a problem for many teams.
Rumble taken away with these 2 bans. Does that tell you anything specifically about what Zenith might be cooking here? Irelia going to be taken away as well. A lot of attention being paid to the top lane. Heck, with that Vayne ban, that could be a Vayne top ban for all we know.
There could have been, but to be honest, the only thing that I'm seeing right now is that this Gna still has not been banned out by anybody. Everybody keeps ignoring the fact that Fang Theory is absolutely exceptional on the Gna, and that is a very big menace to deal with. But Now that's interesting. That is an Ashe pickup for the bot lane of NNOwO, and I fully expected Ashe to be on the side of the Galaxy Racer right now. I'll be fair with you, because this Sivir, if she's going to the mid lane, what is left for the bot lane? You could expect to see a full AP bot lane, or you could expect to see something like Ashe that is going to be a little bit more of a utilitarian pick there, still providing some damage, AP, AD, deciding on how you want to build her up. But it's going to be snatched away for NNOwO, providing additional perk on the lane. This bot lane is going to be a really hard one for the Galaxy Racer now.
JRL, I'm going to let you take this one. That was your prediction in the green room before we went on air, was that we were going to see a lot of Ezreal today. Tell us about it, sir.
Yeah, it's a popular pick through multiple of the teams. This one in particular, right, Galaxy Racer have liked to pick it up. I think it also gives them a lot of agency to kind of leave the bot lane a little bit on its own, right? You can kind of send the Nautilus away to go for those roams. That Pantheon hover, by the way, is absolutely wild. I don't know if they locked it in just yet, but that is a spicy pick indeed. If you want to play aggressive, if you want to play for the lane, you can definitely lock that one in. So it does kind of limit the pool that Zenith has. Now, there are a lot of picks that haven't been banned away. I also love that you got the shovel out as well, 4x4, because you picked up on the fact that Vayne top could have been a thing for Zenith as well. So far, though, gonna lock in the Malphite. Not what I was expecting from this player, right? I was not expecting it. If you look at the history of their picks recently, it has all been carries, it has all been high AD, all high damage. The Malphite not necessarily fitting the mold, but I guess Pantheon is so dangerous that maybe it would have been risky picking into something else, and they do have a lot of carry potential with their jungler, with their ADC, and obviously with the Orianna supplying extra damage.
Yeah, I mean, back in the day when you had the Hecarim being a little bit more in the meta, Hecarim Udyr, right, pairing with the Orianna was so dangerous because you have the ball delivery system, right? You put that puppy on a Zoomy boy, and in they go, and boom, it just detonates into the enemy team. Now you've got the Malphite, you've got the Rakan, you've got other means of starting these fights and dealing extra damage on top of it. Now, the Malphite I can really only see as a bit of a pair with the Orianna, because going into the composition of with a Sivir and an Ezreal, you've got Ezreal has some built-in safety, right? Depending on what summoner spells he picks, might have 2 oopsie buttons. And then with the Sivir as well, has got movement speed as well as a spell shield. Usually you think of Malphite into more immobile compositions, but look, Lilia is going to be a high damage threat. Solari, how do you see the Malphite factoring into this composition? Or is it just for the lane? Is it just for the vibes, just against the Pantheon?
I think the vibes are there. I think the vibes definitely are there with the Malphite, and it's not just because there is Orianna in the team. I think it's Orianna and Rakan paired up, actually, because both the Malphite and the Rakan can provide a really good engage for the team. Immediate control that is going to be really hard for Galaxy Racer to answer, because it's going to be 2 things at the same time, and you don't really have that many spell shields usually on yourself. Maybe a spell shield and a cleanse, but then on top of that, can be the crystal arrow from Ashe, right? And that is already the 3rd thing, and you can't actually cleanse this one if you manage to catch it right in your face. And then on top of that, Viego, the Orianna are just there to clearly deal the damage. I like this on paper, but I am not sure I'm 100% bought on what NNOwO have picked for themselves, because this is a lot of control, but any control is only efficient if you have damage to put on top of that, because if you just control the enemy for the longest time possible and don't kill them in the process, you're pretty much doomed, because your cooldowns are on and the enemy is off your control and they are ready to kill you, and they're very, very angry for what you've done to them.
Jerry, you look like you got something to say. The way you were rubbing your hands together, you look like that meme of the dude peeking out behind the tree, like, "Ooh, let me learn you a thing or two." Twitch.tv. What do you got for us? Yeah,
well, obviously, not only are we wearing the same headphones that Solari, shout out Logitech, but we are also thinking the same thoughts, right? The Malphite is such a good facilitator for this team. It sets up for the Rakan to then get in on a later invade. The Orianna ball delivery system, also the Viego jumping on a Heartbreaker if they're all grouped together. The Crystal Arrow can do the same, and it's, in my opinion, the new Wombo combo, right? This is 2023 Wombo combo. Back in the day, you get the Misfortunes, the Malphite, the Yasuo, all of that. This is the new one, the new and improved, the Rakan, the Malphite, the Orianna. I'm liking it quite a lot. I will say Galaxy Racer have a lot of squishy members as well, so if they get caught by any of this CC, it could just be GG. But what I do want to say is they may be squishy, but they are very slippery, as you've already mentioned. Spell Shield dashes away, Lilia with just insane movement speed, and Pantheon being able to block a lot of damage. There are ways that they can navigate around this Wombo combo, but if it does come to straight up team fights and they're not going to play it a little bit smart, a little bit shady, a little bit shifty, then they are going to get caught out, they are going to get punished. And it makes me think the Galaxy Racer have 2 options here. They have to either get very far ahead where the fights are uncontestable and they can just basically run them down, or they're going to have to be really creative about how they get into these engagements, because late game, if we're even 25 minutes plus, the team fight from NNOwO is just so simple to get done.
And NNOwO, I mean, you can, like you said, whether it's the Ashe or an Orianna or a Rakan or a Malphite, just one sneaky flank, right? If they can get to objectives first, set up, get a control ward down in a good spot, I mean, it won't matter how slippery Galaxy Racer's comp is, because there are just going to be too many angles to defend. Like you said, if they're able to get ahead, get the objective control rolling, the team fights become just way too easy to execute. We are getting ready to get into our games here. Let's get the rosters up one last time. This should be a good one. Again, NNOwO, J-Real gave us kind of the lowdown that this team, they are some unknowns, but this is a team that has been competing together for a while. Galaxy Racer, you see them on your screen right there. This is a team that went 1-1 in the last series. NNOwO, they are there, I promise you, just not to the extent that we know of Galaxy Racer, but they're looking to make their names known. We're going to take it to a quick break. When we come back, Galaxy Racer against NNOwO, match number 2 of Group Stage Day 1 of Pathfinders 3. J-Real and Solar will have all the action for you when we come back.
Okay, because for me there are no bad songs from League. Like they're all very good. So I have to like I can't do just like the 2 last rows can't be like under bad. It can't be like I won't put any song in it. Okay, so this one is I need to check it. Okay, I heard the Linkin Park song. No, it was not this one. So the first one would be into Not Bad, because it's not my style, but it's still a good song. Amazing, definitely amazing. This song is so good. Giants would be at good, I think. For me, it's okay-ish to listen to it while I play or while I do something else, but I won't hear it alone. That's my difference between amazing and good for me.
Okay, and we are here. We're ready to go. NNOwO making their debut on the stream. Galaxy Racer looking to show some more power, some more play, some more emphasis that could get them all the way through to the next day. So, Laurie, what are we expecting from the early game? Who should be taking the lead? Who needs to put the pressure down?
Whoever is more aggressive is going to be taking the lead, because we already saw what Galaxy Racer are capable of when they are super aggressive. And to be fair, I'm looking at Fengder speak right now. I'm looking at this gorgeous Malphite skin. God damn it, I can't believe it still exists in 2023. It's too good to be true, and it fits so well in the color scheme of the Summoner's Rift. I love it, unironically. But I'm looking at Fengder with this Pantheon, and I'm thinking, man, I love it. I hate it at the same time. I actually just had a game against Pantheon yesterday, and I still have flashbacks from it. I did not like it. Nobody in my team liked it. Let's not talk about it. I'm gonna cry otherwise. Fangdere on this Pantheon is going to be massive in this game, regardless of how the game goes, but especially if the game goes well in the early game, this is going to be a big problem for NNOwO, because what does Pantheon bring to the table? The control that we've been talking about. The control against the squishes, the damage against the squishes, and the damage against anybody who's trying to build up the tanky items, because Pantheon doesn't care about how much armor you're going to build. He's going to shred through it all.
Yeah, my only caveat is Malphite is like the king of armor, right? It is quite difficult, and I do think there is going to be a point in the game where basically Fengder can't really do too much against Zenith, but that is going to be scaling, right? That's kind of like 2 items. Obviously, early game, there is going to be a lot of trade potential here, as we are seeing them scrap a little bit in the top side. But I think the big question for me is kind of the pathing of the junglers, right? Because Sana surely has to be playing towards that mid and bot lane, because yes, Malphite is going to be a tank, but Pre-6 doesn't have the best setup on the Pantheon.
Not really. I would say there is no setup whatsoever, and it's going to be super easy for Fangdere to get away from the gang, because Super Sana is not going to be able to catch this Pantheon, or it's going to take a lot of luck and a lot of very good positioning and a lot of disrespect from Fangdere towards the enemies as well. I don't think all these 3 things are going to be combined, but I am always ready to be proven wrong on my points.
Well, we'll have to see. We'll have to find out, because also both of them are pathing up to the top side, right? I was a little bit surprised no one is pathing bot lane. I guess it makes a little bit more sense for me in terms of the Galaxy races, but we'll have to see, because looking at this mid lane, surely action has to go down here. Look how low Dragon is already.
Oh, yes, and getting lower and lower. Has to recall, will have to use teleport most probably because Ability is not going to leave this lane in the current state. But to be fair, this Orianna doesn't have any mana either, so it's going to be a pretty fair state for when Dragon finally gets back to the lane. I'm expecting action on the mid lane. I have to agree with you here, Real, but I also think that the real action from Dragon is not going to be in the early game. Sivir is about scaling. She has been given more tools for the early game with the patches after her rework, but she is still looking forward to the late game, looking forward to the 2-item power spike, and this is when things are going to get super interesting for the Galaxy race.
And I really like this from Sana. Good read on the map, knowing that Telchi is going to be on the top side as well, not playing towards it, but also understanding that because of the fact that Super Relchi had pushed in the side of Dragon, they are going to get that base, they are going to get that TP, and now we're going to see that gank on the bot lane. We've talked about how potential this could be. There's the slow, there's the knock up, and Nautilus gone down. Goodbye, Daniele. And now in the top side, Feng there is getting run down by Zenith. Maybe one more auto, but Flash going to be utilized. Pantheon out safely, and a big pickup from NNOwO. They managed to find one in the bot side, and also
two on the bot side.
They got the double kill.
Somehow, it wasn't a double kill, but it was 2 kills. Oh, we have a replay. Awesome, because we didn't really see the second kill. We saw exactly how Nautilus went down, and yes, as you said, a lot of control, never even getting the chance to get away on the hook. But then the second kill, here comes the hook from the Viego. This is why picking Nautilus into the enemy team when there is a Viego is always such a bad idea. It was vice versa in this draft, so we can't really blame anybody in this situation. But if there is a Viego early on in the enemy team, you know that the focus of the team with Viego is always going to be to try to take them down as early as possible in the fight, because this is a massive advantage for the team of Viego immediately. The hook, the control, and you can see how badly it turned out for the bot lane of Galaxy Racer, for the Israel, the moment this Nautilus is in the hands of Viego.
It's got to feel bad for Maddie, right? Like, you're standing there just to pull, you're trying to get some fight in there, you're trying to help them out, win this one, and then boom, your support becomes a ghost that becomes the enemy, and then you're just dragged back to your doom by your own ally. It's just rough, but there are ways to get out of this, right? It's only 2 kills, it's only early on, but a bit of a gold lead has been built up by NNOwO, so we do have to keep track of that, almost 1.5 at this early stage, and they are starting to utilize their agency around these carries, right? They have that set up from that Rakan, they're getting the Ashe ahead, they're getting the Viego ahead. It's exactly what we talked about in terms of game plan, but are we going to see a little bit of bite back, right? Because you've talked about the scaling of the Sivir, there's scaling in the Ezreal, but Feng there has a lot of early game potential. Maybe they can utilize that to the max, as we are seeing a pretty heavy trade in this bot lane. Nautilus will get out safely, but look at the health bar. The control is so one-sided to NNOwO.
It's not only the control. The thing I was worried about in the draft, remember, was how much damage is there going to be paired up with the control, following up the control from the side of NNOwO. And this Ashe is proving me completely wrong, because the damage with the empowered Q is massive. Poor bot lane of Galaxy Race having any chance of doing anything whatsoever on their lane. They're not farming, as you can see in the difference between Ezreal and Ashe right now. They're just standing under the turret waiting for somebody to come and hopefully save them and not tower dive them and kill them again.
But is it enough? Is Telchi gonna be enough to help them in this boss side? Because it's a dangerous game. We've talked about Lilia being able to be quite speedy, being able to be quite dangerous, but they don't have any items, right? They just have boots. They can do a little bit of damage, but the Ashe also getting the slows. The Rakan having that potential to get the knock up, and obviously Sana not being known on the map just presents the issue of, if you do try and 3v3, well, it might not be a 3v2 that you think of, and it could be a 3v3. Now the dive going to be happening. Good flash away from Maddie will get them safely, but Telchi now the one under fire. Ignite is going to be ticking over, but give it a couple of seconds, because here comes Sana. The prediction is here. We talked about the 3v2 becoming a 3v3. The Heartbreaker is there, secures the kill, but the fight reigns on. Nautilus is going to get the engage off, and Miela now in a tough spot, because here comes Dragon. It is going to be, so far though, a 2-for-1, but Dragon will close this one out. It is going to be a 2-for-2 in total, and the mid laner picking up a couple kills. We talked about Sivir coming online. That just escalated a little bit faster.
Oh, the Pantheon is flying in.
No! You talked
the
about
flashbacks.
nightmares of Pantheon. Here we go. It's on your screen.
Yeah, I was dying so many times exactly like that. That That is really painful to watch. But what was happening on the bot lane, though, is very interesting to watch, because look at this damage from Ashe. However, after that, things get a little bit more complicated, because yes, the idea is great there with bringing Viego down the bot lane, but right after securing the kill, Viego needs to get away from the turret in a very different direction from everybody else, because he's still tanking the tower shots, and after that, the rest of his team is split from him. And then you can see Rakan is going down, and Ashe is going down because there is a very quick rotation from Sivir from the mid lane. Dragon is always very quick at replying to wherever is on the map, and that was the case here. Double kill for Sivir means that the shift on the mid lane is a very strong one. This Sivir is going to be a bully for Orianna.
Talk about bully though. The bot lane is just getting bullied so hard, man. They're having to use the depth charge to get away, but hold that phone a second, because bullying is happening in the top side too. Sana in trouble, potentially going to try and heartbreak it out of this one, but doesn't have it available. Is going to be picked up by Telchi, and it's a game of two halves. Bot lane very much the side of NNOwO, but top side and mid feeling a lot more in the control of Galaxy Racer. But Solari, how does that match up? Is the Ashe going to be doing enough? Is the potential from NNOwO's top side going to weather that storm? Or actually, is it maybe actually starting to eke favor into Galaxy Racer's hands?
Not yet. I would say it's not a favor in their hands just yet. Oh my goodness, are they fighting?
Bang Day is going to get knocked up here. It's a bit of a long chase, right? But we got the mountain slowly but surely walking down, and they might need to be careful because Lilia is in the vicinity. Herald going to be picked up, and now the reverse, right? But it looks like Zenith still wants the fight, but no mana, going to have to flash away. The Lilia just too much of a problem.
Lilia is a problem, and Lilia together with Pantheon is a problem as well, because despite Pantheon being so low, no mana on Malphite, no flash anymore. Malphite means there is not really much you can do in this exchange. But as it is still a 4-5 between the teams, and now +1 dragon in the hands of NNOwO, I would say NNOwO are still very much firmly in the lead. Yes, there are leads the Galaxy Race are taking for themselves, and obviously those leads are going to be coming mostly for them on the top side of the map, because this is where the powerhouse of the team is located.
Ooh.
Mid lane. Speaking of powerhouse, did you see that damage?
The trading is crazy, man. Like, you gotta be careful. Sivir can dish out damage. Dragon showing the prowess that we talked about this pick. It's not one that you're gonna see often. It's not one that you're gonna play against. ADCs in the mid lane are common. We see Tristana every now and again. You know, some people even used to play Ezreal. But Sivir in the mid lane, not one that I would reach for, but it's doing its job.
And the job on the mid lane is pretty simple. You don't die, you farm, you kill the enemy, and you rotate to the side lanes whenever your help is needed there. And Dragon is doing all of those things regardless of which champion they decide to pick. Already has the Kraken Slayer completed, has built the call, so collecting that sweet, sweet gold on top of everything else as well, which is important because Sivir is behind in terms of farm, simply because it is easier for Orianna to farm, especially when the enemy is rotating so much, and Orianna is not really quick to reply, and she cannot, to be fair, reply as quickly as Sivir can move around the map.
Yeah, and talking about rotations, we have to bring up the fact that NNOwO have just took their bot lane from the bottom side of the map to the top side, and they are happily just going to now push this tower. They've sent Malphite down to the bot lane. Zenith is just going to quite happily farm up and start catching up with the Pantheon as well. Feng they're slowly losing their farm lead. But on the flip side, we're seeing the Nautilus go into the mid lane. Danley is now going to be causing problems for the mid, and a great flash and a great little dash away from Ezreal there will get them to safety. But someone that's not in safety is Danley, but flash away again going to be utilized. A lot of summoners, a lot of ultimates burned in that play for both sides, but I think all in all, it's a pretty even split.
All in all, this is still, NNOwO trying to get away the control of the top side of the map, and to be fair, they're doing it quite nicely. The rotation of the bot lane to the top lane means that you're looking for a possibility to get the next Herald and to give more push potential and farm potential to your AD carry, because right now, Ashe is in a very good spot when it comes to farming. She also is sitting on her Kraken Slayer completed, plus the boots, plus building up towards her Triforce, I assume, because that is going to be the most sane choice here. She still needs to survive, but she still needs to deal the damage. And her cooldowns on her ultimate are extremely low. Even on the first level of the ultimate, the cooldown is not too high for you to be worried about it. So yes, you scared away the Nautilus, you didn't get the kill in the end, but you're still fine. You're farming up on the top lane, you're waiting for the Herald to spawn, and your support is doing the rest for you, because this Rakan has been so damn good so far.
Now, are you pro or against this lane swap? Because right now we've got the swap back, and I feel like it was a good move from NNOwO. I really agreed with them opening up and looking to try and get those towers early, because obviously pre-40 minutes there's the plates, you can pick those up, you can secure the bag. But on the flip side, coming out from Galaxy Racer, do you feel like they should have maybe kept the Pantheon in this lane? Because look at the Ezreal. They are just falling further and further behind. They are 74 CS to 122, almost 50 CS down, 13 and a half minutes into the game. And yes, Vengdare is getting a bit of a better time against Zenith, but it feels like the leads that they're gaining isn't necessarily worth losing your bot lane so hard. Although I may have spoke a little bit earlier there, Zenith almost going to go down, but it's going to be Pantheon that burns the flash.
The difference between Ezreal and Pantheon is the difference between this scenario that you're giving and the scenario that is right now, the map rather, is the supports actually. Because Ezreal can stay alone, he's not going to die most probably unless he makes a stupid mistake on the lane, he is not going to be caught out. However, which by the way allows you to rotate your Nautilus to the mid lane or anywhere else, trying to support the other lanes at the same time. However, if you keep Fangdare on the same lane, there is always a possibility for Rakan to try to go in, because he has control. For Ezreal, it's very easy to avoid that control. For Pantheon, not really that much, and it could have resulted in a kill, because you already saw how aggressive that Ashe is, how aggressive Miela is on the lane, especially when the support is around. So I would say I can see why Galaxy Racer are rotating their lanes as well around the map.
Hawkshot, they're going to give a bit of vision, and it's a sentiment where they've had so much control, right? Like, Miela is able to play this very aggressive game, this very proactive movement, because they have so much control, right? Viego has been hovering them a lot of the game. It's given them that extra person so they can kind of have that fallback. And Sorry has been able to pull the trigger basically whenever they want. And talking about pulling the trigger, we are going to get one in the mid lane, but Viego is straight to back it up. That's going to be a 1-for-1 trade so far, but it's not going to end there. More and more kills are going to fall to the side of NNOwO, and another fight, another quick rotation, and this is what we're talking about. They just have control over so much of the map.
That was a triple kill, but that was a triple kill for Viego. Obviously, that was a little bit confusing, but I believe there was a triple kill for Super Sana, right? With a 5-1-1. Yes, thank you very much. The Viego changing and shifting into the other champions is super confusing to me, but a triple kill for Viego means you're very well set, because this is 16th minute in the game right now. The second dragon going, of course, into the hands of NNOwO. But that means we are at the point of the mid-game in the game, and if your Viego is set ahead, if your Viego has a lot of money in the mid-game, you're up to very good team fights, because everything else is available for NNOwO. The control, the audacity, definitely both of these things are there for them in abundance, but now there is also the damage output from Viego that is going to help them massively in the upcoming fights.
Yeah, and I feel like it's starting to lean towards a doom and gloom situation unless this Sivir and Pantheon can really come online. Dodging out from the grand entrance, they're not going to get knocked out, but Nautilus may not be as fortunate. The slow going to hold back Sana, but being chased down. The Ashe arrow just coming in, slowing every single auto, and they are going to be able to flash away once more. Pantheon jumps in, but this is a little bit risky one, but Ashe caught out on their own. Miela now fighting for their life, will flash away over the wall, and the damage is raining in. The sky being black out by the arrows, and another successful fight for NNOwO.
And a double kill for Orianna. A very nice double kill, because Orianna needs to build up the items, but more importantly, Orianna needs to be stacking up the Dark Shield that is already sitting at 8 stacks. If there is a Magi happening somewhere soon, I would not be surprised. I would be fully supporting this one. I'm also supporting what is happening with Miela, because to be fair with you, Jibril, I don't know about you, but I can't get my eyes off Miela in this game. She's doing some extraordinary things with that Ashe. Whenever I see Ashe in the game, damage is not the thing I think about. I think about the control. I think about the control of the lane and the crystal arrows, of course, and the vision control over the map. But this time, I'm seeing a very real damage output, and I'm very happy, because this is helping the team so much. You can see how freely they move around the map and force the fights with Galaxy Racer, knowing they have enough to win them.
Yeah, and it feels like NNOwO are on a trip, right? They're on a trip and their destination is victory, and we are just passengers on the plane. So, Solari, let's check in on this game. What we talked about earlier, right? We talked about the Pantheon getting ahead. Okay, Galaxy Racer have been able to do that. Lilia did find small success, but is pretty much even. The same with the Sivir. Again, talking about Sivir needs to come online. It hasn't happened just yet. But this bot lane, we talked about them not bleeding out, but it has occurred, right? NNOwO have pushed this advantage to the nth degree, and it is starting to look a bit doom and gloom, But is Galaxy Racer still having a bit of time? Do they still have some potential to bring this game back under control due to the fact that their tops of the map still hasn't gone under fully? They haven't sunk like the Titanic just yet.
Actually, they do, Real. To answer your question, they do. If right now Sivir doesn't die, they don't.
Oh no.
Not anymore.
Does that moment change everything?
Yes, it absolutely does. Because, oh my god, that's a good hook.
It was, but it was spell shielded and they were not able to pull this one back into their grasp. And yes, we get the sleep on to Super LG, but look at what NNOwO can do. They're going to drop the Herald in the mid. They're going to be able to push for this tier 2, potentially even for the tier 3. They might even go as far as an inhib. And what is the defense, right? You have Maddie throwing out those spells. Yes, you also have Telchi there, but they're not able to get anywhere near and close because a little bit of CC and boom, your life is gone. So Herald gonna crash in once more. They will be able to pick that one up and clear out the waves. And NNOwO will just take the extra gold from the tier 2, but the rotations coming out force a bit of fear into Feng there. And now they might actually be caught out because Super Sana is on the hunt.
Super Sana is looking for somebody to kill. The next target is going to be Feng Dere.
It's GG. Goodbye. Goodbye to the Pantheon.
Oh, yeah.
You were a strong warrior, but they're looking to fight this. This is crazy for me. I feel like Galaxy Racer, they just need to scale. They just need to take time. I feel like these forced fights aren't going their way. Yes, there are a lot of low health bars from NNOwO, but they have so much damage. They are so far ahead right now that I feel like this is surely not a play that you want to make. Rakan with the ultimate, the quickening could come in, and here comes Zenith from behind. No unstoppable force, though. Can't get the knock up just yet, but the slows are inbound, and here's the quickening. Now the hook is going to be able to pick up the kill. Miela is finally going to fall down. Maybe I overestimated them. Maybe they did bite off a bit more they can chew, but 1 for 1 overall. Again, map control gained, and NNOwO, yes, they maybe lose a little bit of gold here, but look how far ahead they are, Solari.
Very far ahead. 7-15. And what, around 6 to 7k difference between
like
the teams?
6k, almost 6.5.
Yeah, 6.5. Yeah, that is massive. Even though that was an attempt to balance it out a little bit with killing Miela, which is a good call always because it's a very nice shutdown and just a very good carry from the enemy team to get rid of. But the kill went into the hands of Nautilus and the money went into the hands of Nautilus. So all in all, it's not exactly the best exchange for Galaxy Racer whatsoever. They still need to be defending their base because they have an open inhibitor. Never the situation, almost open inhibitor. Sorry, this turret is almost dead there on the mid lane. What is that damage? What is this aggression? What is this passion in this Oriana?
Maddie is just going to have to play dodgeball, but it's so tough, man. It's going to be able to pick up that kill. Dragon next on the agenda. They should be able to secure that one very easily for NNOwO, and that will put them onto Soul Point, which will be Mountain Soul. Obviously, the bolstering of the shield going to be very nice for them, but I don't even feel like it's necessary. They don't even need to play for this next Drake. I don't even know if we're going to get to this next Drake, to be honest, Larry, because Baron is on the menu, and it looks like they are ready to eat.
If there's going to be a big team fight right now and NNOwO will win this one, they're going through the mid lane, they're getting down the mid lane turret, they're getting down the inhibitor, and then they can decide whether they want to rotate towards the Baron or whether they just want to straight on finish the game. The death time is not going to be that high because we're just a 22nd minute in the game despite all the action that has been happening to this very moment. We are still pretty early. So everybody from the Galaxy Racer are going to resort quickly. I don't think it's going to be the end of the game. I think we are going to see the next dragon still spawning in the game and still getting killed, most probably by NNOwO, because they're not looking into giving anything whatsoever to the enemy team right now.
Questions need to be answered, right? How do you kill Zenith? That's my first question, right? Very tanky. Yes, you have a bit of AP coming out from Lilia, but Lilia only at 2 items right now, not necessarily super far into the game. Yes, Sivir also slowly scaling, but you need an LDR surely before you can start taking on the mountain. And I only bring this up because although, yes, I did mention there is a lot of mobility, there is a lot of kind of dodge factor coming in from the side of Galaxy Racer, they are still going to have to fight pretty back to front, right? They are a lot of ranged members who are going to stand behind the Nautilus and fire off shots or get in on the Pantheon. But from the flip side of NNOwO, their back to front is way further put ahead, and that Ashe is going to keep raining in that damage that I don't really know how Galaxy Racer are going to contend with. So, Solari, do they have to just cheese it out? Do they have to just find a bit of success? Because it doesn't feel like team fights are going to go their way. And to be honest, NNOwO, the way they're putting on the pressure, they are looking fights to end the game.
I'm trying to imagine the world in which a team fight is going to go the way of the Galaxy Racer. And it's going to be a really hard one to execute because they have 3 carries on the enemy team right now that they need to kill. And look at the damage that these carries are dealing. This Orianna is not kidding around whatsoever. But you need to get rid of her, you need to get rid of Viego, and you need to get rid of Ashe. All while there is control being thrown at you, and a very effective control. And there is the front lane that you somehow need to cut through. It is a hard one. But the back lane of NNOwO is still extremely squishy. Ashe is very one-shottable. Orianna, even with a shield, is a very easy one to pick, and she doesn't really have any escape tools whatsoever. There are ways in which Galaxy Racer can try to win the fight, especially because they have been trying to pile up some gold. There is still huge difference in between the 80 carries, for example, but Sivir has 2 items. Lilia has 2 items. It ain't much, but it's exactly as many items as, for example, Ashe has. It is more than what Orianna has at this moment, even though she's going to build Rabadon, and then it's going to be a completely different story.
So for the people at home, the next dragon is coming up, right? It's coming up pretty soon, or soonish, right? Less than 3 minutes, let's say. Do Galaxy Racer fight? Do they not? Do they give over the potential soul buff for that fight, or do they wait for bigger fish to fry? Do they wait for the Baron attempt from NNOwO?
Good question. 2 possible outcomes that I'm seeing right now. Fighting for the dragon is going to be really good for them because the soul is going to skyrocket, and NNOwO is going to be even harder than now for Galaxy Racer to be trying to take that down to kill them, especially their front lane, but even the squishy carries that we're just talking about. Or they can try to go to the Baron, just straightforward. Lure NNOwO in.
This fight, it's going to go for a while, right? We got a bit of time. We can probably have a whole conversation. Although saying that, Zenith is starting to take quite a bit more damage there. Will get slept, will get picked up as well. So Telchi and Feng there find their success, but they got to get out of there, man. They've got to run. You got to get going. Do the Forest Gump impression and run, because you need to leave the vicinity. The Grand Skyfall plus the movement from Lydia is going to get them out for now, and they will move safely away. So life secured, picked up. And that's what we want to see. Galaxy Racer finding success with no answer back from NNOwO.
They make NNOwO be a little bit weaker because they are -1 right now, which means they can not immediately go and threaten the Baron. They can go and rotate towards the Drake, but they need to be a little bit more cautious because Galaxy Racer can still try to turn on them. So that's why NNOwO right now are doing a smart thing. They are pushing in the lanes, making sure they still maintain the prio and occupy the enemies with something to do on the lanes. They have the vision around the dragon, a lot of vision, to be honest. Our vision game has been absolutely on point in this game, and right now they are threatening the soul of the game.
Vision game 99, maybe not 100, right? I think 100 vision would be absolutely insane, but they are pretty good. I do agree. They've got what they want secured. It's lit up. Look at the bottom of this map. It's like a Christmas tree. Anywhere that they want is seen, and there is no easy way for Galaxy Racer to get in. And it feels like they're kind of taking a page out of your recommendations, right? They are going for that Baron pressure. They're saying, look, you know what? We know that we can't fight you at Dragon, but we're going to force you to kind of have a weird dance around Baron. But something has to happen, right, Solaro? They can't just dance forever because Viego is taking that Dragon Bite on his own.
Exactly. They're having at least Sivir getting some gold for the team, getting some more prio for the team, but Viego is super comfortable at taking the dragon alone, and nobody's stopping him whatsoever. And the moment the dragon is down, Super Sana, she is going to start rotating towards the team, and that means that Galaxy Racer are doing the right thing, and they are disengaging from the Baron. They cannot do anything, they cannot force the fights, because if they try to force something, still all the cooldowns are available for NNOwO. They are going to throw them in, and they are going to win this one. Okay, simply because the amount of control is too much for Galaxy Racer to answer. But right now, that's when the things get interesting.
Oh, I thought that hit thing there. I thought the turret was going to finish them off, but it's not going to be so. It is just going to be Maddie that gets clipped up, as now here comes the aggressive movement in there from Sari, but it's not going to lead to anything more than just a little bit of a scare towards Galaxy Racer. But with the low Pantheon, maybe this is the opening. Now, Grand Skyfall is available, Solari, so the Pantheon can get to this Baron fast, but it looks like there is not even an attempt, or maybe they don't even know that NNOwO are going for this.
He can get fast, but can he get fast enough? Because this Baron is going down super quickly. And yeah, it does feel like Galaxy Racer either have given up or they just completely don't know what is happening with the top side of the map. Which can be the answer, to be honest, because yet again, there is no vision for Galaxy Racer available on the map. They have a little bit on the bot side of the map, nothing on the top side of the map. NNOwO have been book perfect with keeping their vision up and removing the vision from the enemy team. Right now, this is the push, and that could be the final push, because remember, the mid lane is still almost dead for Galaxy Racer.
And it feels like they're taking it slowly. Now, NNOwO, I am surprised that they've not pushed the tempo a little bit more. They were so aggressive off the bat. The first 15 to 20 minutes, they were just taking every fight, forcing the win into their favor. And Galaxy Racer were just kind of having to just throw a few punches back, but just getting punched in the face repeatedly. But it feels like the game slowed down. We kind of went to a bit of a cooler phase. And if we look at the gold, it is now, what, about for 7k between the two teams. It's actually 6, even if I can do maths properly, which is essentially the same as when we last checked in on that. So they've not been accelerating their lead, and it does almost give me that mindset of actually, like, we do have the Elder Dragon spawning in probably like 4.5 minutes. Is there a world where Galaxy Racer could start to come back into this game if they secure a couple objectives here and there?
There is, but they would need to start preparing for this dragon right now, because right now they have no access, and if they don't do anything about it, they would not have access to it by the time it actually spawns on the map. There's still Baron buff on this. Oh my goodness!
Feng there going to be going a little bit over the top there, a little bit past the fight, and Zenith just able to keep Super Elchi alive. And here's the arrow. Goodbye, you are stunned up and probably dead. Goodbye to Dragon. They have been taken down, and now it looks like the Nautilus is going to follow suit there. Danley able to flash away, but the tower, the new target, absolutely removed from the game. And look, the bot lane is going to follow suit. 2 towers, likely 2 inhibs, and maybe more Solari taken down.
Quite possibly, because they are not stopping there. There is still -1 30 seconds before Dragon is going to respawn, before this series is going to be able to rejoin her team, and before that, the enemy team is not stopping, still having the Baron buff. The empowered minions are doing the God's work right now.
Empowered minions are cracking open the base. The range from the cannons just a little bit too much to deal with for the towers, and they are falling down. 1, 2 have been removed. The last thing on the map is the Nexus. A big knock up into Telchi having to run away. The damage is just way too high from Miela, and it is just going to be a GG. NNOwO with a very, very convincing first victory.
8-19. In just 30 minutes, the game was decided. But to be fair, the game was decided long time ago, because it looks like we have cracked down the code of Galaxy Racer. They want to be aggressive, and they win their games with aggressiveness. But if they meet the response of aggressiveness from the enemy team,